he had something at the end of March. He had a little business trip he had to go on. A South American business trip.
Hi, Angie Wilkinson.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you.
Good. Thanks for coming on Reality Check.
Okay.
It is a podcast I've been looking forward to.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. After following your meeting through CAD, which is we can go into as well if you want. One thing about you that I've watched on your social medias is it's proper fucking inspiring. And I mean that now to the point where if I see one of your videos or stories, I've done exercise.
Good.
Honestly, and that's, I guess, is that what you try to push out there? Because it's motivational, it's empowering. Literally, I watched one of your stories and about 5 minutes later I'm in the garage doing pull-ups or something like that.
Well, that's what I want to hear.
Exactly.
That's what it's meant to do,
So keep doing that because it's mega, honestly. So we're gonna touch on quite a few big topics today, which I'm really looking forward to. Things we've covered before in the past on Reality Check, but a few new things that I feel is massive for the public to hear, because I believe a lot of people, like myself, are still a bit wet behind the ears about it's, regarding health, strength, mental and physical and whatnot. But before we get into any of that, could you tell us a bit about yourself and your background?
I can. I don't know, where do you want to start?
Go right back if you can.
Well, right back. Okay. My childhood, I mean, on the outside it looked pretty normal. I've got 2 sisters and a brother. I'm the oldest. And my dad was heavily into sport. He was a big rugby man. So I spent, I think, as a toddler, as a tot, he said he used to hang me on the changing room wall while they all got changed and went out on the pitch. So I used to go to practice then. And then, I don't know, I think I did a half marathon when I was about 11.
What?
No.
Really?
I lived up in Glossop, up in the Padfield in the hills.
No way.
6 o'clock in the morning, I'd come wind, rain, shine, frost, whatever, it'd get me up and we'd go out running up on the hills.
No way.
Yeah, so, and then I was into swimming as well, so I trained quite a lot, so I was more of a swimmer and a runner in my younger years, but I've tried loads of sports. And then, but there was also not so good stuff going on in the family. So it was a dysfunctional family at the end of the day. And I think children that come from dysfunctional families obviously can start to struggle, can't they, through...
But what they see becomes a part of them, doesn't it?
Yeah. I didn't ever see any violence, but there was a lot of smashed furniture. And I used to...
Smash plates, holes in the walls, on the doors.
Exactly, screaming, shouting. So, being the oldest, I was always fairly responsible, for my siblings. But I think the turning point was, I had my German Shepherd, my Alsatian dog, and she was my best friend. Like I say, I'd be up 6 o'clock, I'd be walking her, before school, brushing her. She was my best friend. And I was looking after all the kids at home at the age of 11.
Really?
My baby brother, there's 11 years between us, so I don't know if it was a thing then, I don't know.
Would you feel like you were, not pressurised maybe, but with you being the eldest and because of the circumstances, did you feel that was a role you had to stand up to, if that makes sense? To look after your own kids even at such a young age, your siblings? Yeah,
I think so, I don't know, I think that's just how I became. I was a good girl. I was responsible. I did the washing, the cleaning, the cooking, you know, helped out, changed nappies, and that's what I did. But this particular day, like I say, I was on my own with the kids, and my younger sister had just took the dog out the door, and where we lived, it was a country road, it wasn't like a main road. And anyway, she came running back, and the dog had been run over. Well,
you're joking.
I was absolutely...
How old was you at the time?
11.
So devastated.
Devastated. I've always had a difficult relationship with my mother, so yeah, I don't know. I think that was the pivot point, because then a few weeks after that, it was getting towards Christmas, and that's when I took my first drink.
Right.
But my first drink was to get obliterated. It wasn't just to
taste
try
it and try
just to taste it.
You already had that mindset at 11 years old.
Well, I didn't know at the time. I don't know. I mean, it was very normal in our household to drink.
Yeah.
You know, he's a
so
rugby
you seen
guy.
people tipsy and pissed, and it was just a part of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with mine.
Yeah.
Up.
So, but I didn't know. I don't think I knew what it did at the time. But then, obviously, I drank enough to.
Yeah. To experience what it definitely done.
So it started to change. You know, I started to change my attitude. I started to rebel a bit, and me and my mum, we battled and battled. It was just, yeah, it wasn't very good, my teenage years. But, you know, I swam, I ran, you know, and I always had that.
You always had your fitness.
Yeah.
No matter what was going on.
Yeah. And I'd love just running around the reservoirs, like, you know, even now, like running on a treadmill. I just think,
it's not the same, is it?
No.
I'd rather be out in nature running.
Yeah, it's just so freeing. Yeah. So yeah, I've always called it a bit, you know, it's been my medicine really, for my mental health. Yeah. So then going on, I had my first son at 21.
Right. That brings about its own challenges as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, I drank heavily through my teenage years, and then I pulled it back when I was pregnant. But it was that ticking time bomb. I mean, I'd have a Guinness or a couple of Guinnesses, but yeah, I just, you know.
So obviously you started drinking from 11, you said, up until 21. You were able to sort of moderate and control it to a certain extent through your pregnancy. Yeah.
For my baby, I think.
Yeah.
I forgot to say, I did go through all that self-harming, hating. I mean, my teenage years were horrendous, really. They're just very black. Right. I ended up at school. My mum swapped schools. She said, "I don't want the rest of the kids turning out like you." Really? So we're moving schools. She moved me to this like quite fairly posh school, and I just did not fit in. It wasn't you. No. So I'd end up. I think I made friends with the naughtiest boy in the whole year, and we just used to wag lessons and go and smoke weed, and that was my schooling really. Came away with nothing, no O levels. It was. But yeah, I spent a lot of time cutting myself, self-harming at that age. I really didn't like myself either. So I think that I just kind of had this vision that I wanted this happy family, and I met my son's dad, and that's kind of where I was going with it. But we met in the pub. He liked to drink. And yeah, that carried on whilst, you know, after my son was born. So I was just really unhappy. I just fell out of love and wanted to leave. So I did, went back to my mum's. Very quickly met my next son's dad. Again, wanted a happy family. And that turned, after 6 months, and I just got pregnant just after finding out. That kind of turned into a very volatile 6 years.
Right.
Yeah, the violence kind of started. It just started with a bit of a push and a shove, and then I started, with the black eyes and yeah. So I don't know. I have said this story quite many times now, but yeah, I know, like, kind of domestic violence nowadays, there's a lot, it can be taken out of women's hands now, whereas at that time, I'd ring the police and then they'd say, do you want to press charges? And then after a few days I'd go, no.
Yeah, because you had a few days to...
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. And was most of that down to, would you say, relationship with alcohol? Was it always around drinking, or did it just become a thing?
I mean, he wasn't a drinker. I mean, the first or main quite destructive time was my son was 3 months old, and it was like the first time I went out after having him, and he was chatting to some girls in the pub, and I said, come on, it's 12 o'clock, I've got to go. And he kind of went, see ya, and carried on chatting to these girls, and I was like, so I I hit him. It was a slap, and next minute I've been knocked out cold on the floor. He stamped all over my head. And yeah, I couldn't open my eyes for 3 days. It was like, yeah, I just didn't know where I was at, really. It was pretty chilling.
Yeah, I bet.
Everyone's going, you can't go back to him, you can't go back to him. But I don't know, I was just in a place, I just had a baby, I had no money. I still loved him.
Yeah, I get that, yeah.
Even though I knew it wasn't right.
Was it like a bit of a safe space, a blanket, safety blanket?
Yeah,
in a way?
I suppose I think it's that when something's blown up, it's that, like, that after effect, like the few days after, and then he's being nice, and you're totally shell-shocked, and someone's wanting to be nice to you and put their arms around you, and it's like a...
yeah.
I don't know, I can't explain it. It's like an empty feeling, but it's not, because you're just numb, really. You're numb. I just remember sat in the bath, washing myself and washing the bruises and thinking, how did that happen? What has just happened?
Yeah, how did we get here?
It's just, like, not real. I don't know. But then a few days later, you're back in at home, it's dying down. You're starting to get back to that what you think's being normal. And then it is, and then until the next time, he's sorry, he's not going to do it again.
It's a cycle, isn't it?
So I think I started, I mean, at the time I was drinking at home. He'd go out quite a lot and stay till after hours, and then I might have a bottle or two, wondering, it's a bit that eggshell thing, if I go to bed, or do I wait up, or what mood's he going to be in when I get in. So it was, at first it was like that, and with a young baby and just trying to focus on looking after my children at the time. But then it went on to, I started to rebel again. I thought, right, two can play at that game. And then,
can't beat and join them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of, and sometimes people would say, oh, you're both as bad as each other. And well, I could be, I could be if I'd had a drink. If somebody had pressed my buttons the wrong way, I can.
I think we are, can't we? I think it's a human part of us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Someone pushes you, you shouldn't have to take shit, should you?
No.
You know what I mean?
I know. So.
And by people saying that, did that diminish the feeling of what happened to you? Do you feel like it took away the enormity of what was going on with you?
Yeah, I think it,
I
think it did. And that because I was a big, strong girl, that I could take it. You know, so. So yeah. So then I kind of went into drugs as well. Then I went into party mode.
Yep.
And it was just one vicious battle. I didn't obviously go out with him, but when I'd go out with girlfriends and get stuff, and we'd go out, and then, you know, sometimes I'd come back, sometimes I wouldn't. Yeah. So it was a bit of a vicious circle, and then I'd leave and come back and blow up again. And then I'd be in refuge, then I'd take the kids, be in hostels. Yeah, it was just, I look back now and I feel really upset for that girl, that person at that time. You know, it was just really confusing, because all she wanted to be was loved.
Yeah, I get that, yeah.
You know, at the end of the day. And I had 2 kids going through all that. So, yeah, I went to, he also isolated me from people, so...
Controlling?
Yeah, it was very controlling. So I didn't have a lot to do with my family. It was always my dad that I'd get a phone call, because men aren't allowed to refuges, or... and the women would say, look, I think your dad's tried to ring, so they'd allow me to ring because it was my dad, but they're always really careful about men coming to the door, trying to find the women, so, but I'd always end up going back. I mean, I left, my youngest son had 6 different primary schools,
really?
First year of primary. I actually moved out physically, everything, 3 times, and moved everything back. And then the last time I pressed charges, so there was 10 counts of assault.
Wow.
Against him, and I ended up at the refuge in Stretford. I'd left my son with his grandma because, you know, I didn't want to change his school again. So yeah, and I think at that time, I thought, that's it, it's enough. I don't know, it wasn't the worst time, but I just kept saying to myself, I have to stay away now, that's it, I have to stay away. But I was still drinking. I mean, there was Betty, I think she was called, she was a proper alcoholic. She was on Piccadilly Gardens with a brown paper bag.
Yeah, like the stereotype.
Yeah. So she was a proper alcoholic. Yeah. I wasn't.
Yeah. Been there.
Yeah. So.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just the way you think of yourself, you know, just.
It's like you're hiding the problem without even knowing you're hiding it. That's what looking back now, I'll do anything to hide that bag of sniff and then drink. Yeah. I would lie about anything. It's not that fault, it's all yous, and do you know what I mean?
Somebody else.
Yeah, so bad.
I know, and I'm sneaking in them 3-litre boxes, you know, taking it out of the box and just in the silver tinfoil, putting it in my bag because you weren't allowed alcohol, and lay on a plastic sheet in the hostel with my son in bed in the dark drinking wine.
But that was, at the time, sort of, it sounds mad what I'm about to say, but you probably understand that was the solution to your problem. That's all you knew at the time, wasn't it? That was your go-to. Same with me. And at what point, so like you said you kept going back.
Yeah.
do you feel like there's a codependency thing going on there as well? Because
Yeah.
so despite the detrimental stuff that was going on to you, there was this...
Yeah, well, I mean, when he was nice, he was nice, and yeah, I just, yeah, I had no money, I had no worth. I think that's, I had no worth of myself. I just didn't feel good about, I hated myself. I mean, I'd had a couple of suicide attempts, a couple of, when they pump your stomach and charcoal. Yeah, and then, yeah, I don't know. I just knew I had to stay away that time, and I did. I was always in survival mode, though. I mean, you know, I got money I remember getting this gyro at the hostel, and this girl friending me, and you're forever looking over your shoulder. When you're in that space of, it's just pure survival. You think everyone's out to get you. I remember she said, I'll show you where the post office is, and I'm thinking, why do you want to show me where the post office is? What are you going to do? Are you going to jump me? And I was like this, looking all through the precinct.
Something off you.
Yeah. You know, locking everything up, and anyway, I did stay away. I stayed in the hostel, and I got a new house in Stretford, and the trial was still going ahead. I think it was about 9 months. My youngest son hadn't seen his dad. I'd had completely no contact from him. And then I got my new house, and it turned up at the door.
Wow.
I mean, it literally wasn't on an A to Z. I mean, we had no sat navs then, it was A to Z. So
was it just unannounced? You just turned
yeah.
up?
And I let him in. I know. I let him in for a brew. And that was it. That's all he needed. It just felt like, I mean, I'm talking about this for women that are going through it now. I mean, this was a long time ago. I'm just trying to, you know, because I think back now and I think, what was going through your mind? It's
we all do it in hindsight, don't we? But it's so real at the time. Them emotions you're talking about, and again, differentiating the truth from the false with your thoughts. Do you know what I mean? I get that. At what point then, what was it that made you say, this is finally enough?
Well, there's still a bit more, because I did get back with him, and I dropped all the charges. And then, but I thought, I am not moving back. I am staying where I am, and I wanted so much to study, to get a career, to be able to work, you know, and generate, you know, some income for myself. So I'd got onto a college course at South Trafford. It was a performance and media course, and we had to do these monologues. We had to put this play together at the end, and we all put we had little ideas, and we put it in a hat. And my idea was the reasons why people drink.
No way.
And it got pulled out the hat.
No way.
And so everybody had to do their own little monologue about reasons why you're drinking. And then we put the monologues together at the end, and did this kind of play thing. So mine was about an abused woman, and reasons why I drank. And looking back now, I think, wow, you know, because I didn't at that point think I was an alcoholic, or I knew. I think I was trying to think why I was drinking, or why
you associate it with. It's because of that.
Yeah.
That's the only. If that was to stop, I wouldn't be drinking.
Yeah.
Potentially. Yeah. Get that.
And everyone put them, and it was filmed in this pub, and it was really good at the end. You know, everyone. guy was a tramp and another guy was a businessman and he just didn't want to go home to his wife, and it was all different reasons why people were drinking. And then that got me on, I got a place at Salford doing performance and media. In the meantime, I'm still going back to him, and then I found out, I started getting these phone calls, found out basically he'd been cheating anyway. So I don't know, that was the switch. It was just found that he'd cheated on me, and that was it.
That's mad, isn't it?
And I thought, right, that's it. And I think at that point, that had become more important.
Right.
Me being educated and I'd got a place at uni had become more important than that.
So there was a shift in your mental space in terms of, I'm starting to look after me now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that is a mad story. Like, I'm so happy you got through it and you are who you are today. And the fact that you're so honest about it, I mean, I know it'll blow people away. Just having the confidence to be able to talk about yourself and all the stuff you've been through and be where you are today is massive. But carrying on from where you were, so you finally decided to, I'm doing this for me now, your education and whatnot.
Yeah, but there's a but.
There's always a but with us.
There's a but. So then obviously I had a problem, a big problem. It was called drink and drugs. And
was this at the time you were going into education?
Yeah.
So you sort of, and how did that, so at what point then, so when you said better, you looked at her, she was like, she's an alk, I ain't. Mm-hmm. So from going from that mindset to the mindset of, I've got a problem, what is that? If you can explain it to anyone who's watching who might be thinking, have I got a problem, or is it just circumstantial? What was it? Could you explain what it was?
Because I couldn't stop.
Perfect answer.
I was trying to stop and I couldn't. And I started off well at uni. I loved it. It brought me out in so many ways because I'd been pushed down and my worth and everything, and this acting thing, my confidence, it was bringing me out. But then I met a friend, and we were Thelma and Louise. We were, and God, I just couldn't. As soon as I took something in me, I couldn't stop, and it went from, right, I'm not drinking tonight, but I'll just take cocaine.
Yep. How mad is that thinking as well? I've done that myself. Been in the house on my own drinking water and just sniffing coke, thinking, well, I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking. Time,
I know. And then she'd ring. Of course, you need a friend to do it with. So she'd ring, "Are you coming out this weekend?" And I could feel like the thing in me. I couldn't give her an answer. I couldn't even say no, but I couldn't say yes either, because I didn't want to say yes because I wanted to do my work. So I thought, well, if I leave it later in the day and I do my work, and then I can go out, and I'm just forever like trying
plotting and scheming and
juggle it.
Yep.
Some weekends I'd be fine and I'd stay in and I'd do my work, but by next weekend I'd be raring, I'd be like, and she'd go, "Do you want to come out?" Yeah,
you're doubling up from last week that you missed and whatnot.
Yeah. But I knew it wasn't just a fright. I'd be out, and many times then they were seeing, the kids were seeing the dads, and I'd be ringing on a Monday morning going, "Can you take them to school?"
Yeah.
I can't. And so this went on, and the come downs was just terrible. I couldn't, I'd shut the curtains, I'd isolate, my weight would fluctuate, so then I'd be going from staying stopped and getting fit. I get really fit, lose all my weight, eat healthy, stop smoking. And then when I feel really good, think, right, I'm going out now.
Yeah, I've made it. Yeah. It's the exact same story as mine. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you find it was most of the time when you were feeling really good?
Yeah.
Same with me.
Yeah. And then it was that,
Yeah.
it started being every 6 months. Then it started getting 4 months, then 3 months. And then one night then I was out with a friend who didn't, I'd gone back to my old school area, met up with her, not seen her for a while. I'm going round, you got any pills, popping pills, she wasn't. Met this guy who lived near me. I was out of the area, he lived near me. Next minute, I'd left my friend and gone back to my house. And then we developed this friendship and it went from there and we fell in love, and I mean it was lovely at first.
Always is, isn't it? The honeymoon period.
I know, but it was the taking drugs. He took drugs and, you know, and
like
then,
you at that time?
Yeah. So
you'd found your people, in a way. Yeah.
But then I was just so guilty about not being a good mum because I couldn't. Then my kids were walking to school, not being up for them. There's a chippy tea, can't make tea anymore. So then I'd be back to trying to stop. And then I've got someone in, so then, I mean, I totally adored this guy, and he moved in, and he adored me. And I'd never had that relationship with it, you know, from my family, with anybody. And by this time I'm 31. So this guy was my whole world then. And it, you know, he was great with my kids, they loved him. He was a big character, loads of friends, he was funny, he was the main man. And but he was also into not so good stuff, bit of the underworld, bit of crime. So I'd found my perfect person and I decided to not look at that side of it.
Yeah, selective.
Yeah, which he took me to, it was my birthday, kind of the end of January, and so for Valentine's Day, so he took me to the Maldives. That, nice. You know, he treated me well, and we went to the Maldives, and then had a lovely time, came back. He had something at the end of March. He had a little business trip he had to go on, a South American business trip. And then when he came back, he'd landed back, and we'd just got a takeaway. I'd just nipped round to my sister's to put his false passport at hers. Came back, and there was a knock at the door. My 9-year-old son answered the door, and there was 2 masked men there. One put a gun to his head. Wow. And told my son that he was going to kill him. Wow. He then came in the front room, and I remember I was laying on the settee and we were holding hands, and I think at first I just thought it was a joke. I was just like... Yeah.
It's not something you're going to expect ever to happen, is it, really?
No. No, I just thought, are these his mates messing about or what? I couldn't, you know. And then I stood up, and he come and he pointed the gun at him while he sat down in the chair, and it was going through it. I thought, I don't know, all sorts of I thought, could I jump on the gun? If I jump on the gun, is it going to go off? Is he going to shoot him? The other guy had a brick. He was stood at the door. I just had all the, and then I think because I stood up, he started to back off, and then he put his hand around the door and he shot, and the shot went off.
Wow.
But nothing happened. I could just smell gun smoke. So he then got up and chased, and then as he stepped into the corridor, the gun went off again, and he shot him. He fell to the floor.
Wow.
So I just had loads of it. I don't know. I just ran out the front door and chased him round the corner, and I seen him. There was a car and it was moving, and I seen him stop, and then I thought, I think I realised, like, maybe he could come back for you. I don't. So I backed off then, and anyway, I think the guy was driving the car just saying get in. So I ran back as fast as I could, and both my children stood over his body, and there was just blood everywhere. Anyway, he died in hospital from the gunshot. So yeah, that was my life kind of blown apart.
Wow.
So,
I mean, is that something you still live with today? Did it affect your kids?
Yeah. I mean, they're 30 and 32 now. So yeah, I know they've had their own struggles, mental health wise.
Yeah, understandably.
So anyway, you know.
But like you say, you're survivors, and you're still here. But wow.
Yeah.
That is.
I mean, but then that opened up a can of worms, really. Because then obviously there was an investigation.
Yeah. So your whole life was being pulled apart all of a sudden as well, scrutinised. Yep,
the house was boarded up. That first 3 weeks I had the detectives come round every single morning to interview me about things, people. I don't know, at that time I was just like, I mean, I've been told that many times, don't speak to the police, don't do this, don't do that. But then I'm thinking, but someone's just shot my fiance. So yeah, and I just wanted to, the first thing I did, I mean, I just wanted things to bring me down, so I just smoked weed. Yeah. And I'm not a weed smoker, really.
But you know what the type of effects it would get? It would just chill you out.
I just wanted something to just calm me down, So I stayed at my sister's, and she was worried to death. She was like, I don't know what to expect. Like, sometimes I'd just disappear. I think I should have gone on an ID parade, and I'd got, I don't know, I think I'd drank, I don't know what I got, I was off my head. And I managed to get in the house, I broke back in the house. And lay in the bed, and she's like, where are you? You know, you're supposed to be, the police are looking for you. And I'm like, oh, I said, I'm in Port Benus on the beach.
Just anything but.
That's where I thought I was. I don't know.
What, you really did?
Yeah, I was off my head.
No way. And was that because of everything then was just getting too much, obviously, very traumatic?
Yeah.
everything that you've had from your childhood that you've explained
Yeah.
on top of that, and it's just like you can't deal with it anymore.
No, and I was insane completely. I mean, I was walking down the road with the knife in my pocket, and there was. I kept going from fear to anger. There was talk, there was people, and I thought I wanted to go and hurt them.
Yep.
And I don't know who's done it. It was just so. And then about 3 weeks in, again I got off my head, and my sister had had enough of me. Basically, she was tearing her hair out, and I took this concoction of pills, tablets, whatever mixture, and I went in, and she was on the settee, and I burnt her with a cigarette apparently, and then I said I've done something stupid, and she went, oh, just fuck off, I'm fucking sick of you. Next minute I'm fitting on the floor. So a friend comes down, she's still angry with me, going, I'm sick of you. A friend went, I think we better phone the ambulance. So I think they rang 111, and then so Kate's still swearing her head off. The ambulance came, she said, they took you in the ambulance, and I got your pyjamas, threw them in a bag. She said, and I got in the ambulance, and they literally ripped they couldn't find any veins, and I'd stopped breathing.
Wow.
So I know, I always feel like really, oh God, I don't know, it's a really sad story, but it happened a long time ago. Yeah. I know.
It is sad, but I guess without all that, you probably, well, it's obvious you wouldn't be who you are.
No,
I know it sounds cliche, but you know, for anyone to get over half of what you've just talked about would be an absolute accomplishment.
Yeah.
That's some deep stuff, and it hasn't made you who you are today. No,
and yeah, I think that's why, you know, like CAD and everything, you know, I want to help people like that, because there is a way out. You know, I was in ICU for 3 days on a ventilator, and I woke up out of that. I mean, both my arms were completely black, where they couldn't find veins. What did they try to do? Yeah. And I walked out that hospital, and I'm pretty all right. You know, they said you might have had organ damage or whatever, I don't know, but you know, I'm 20 years on now, and I'm still all right. So, but then a family friend had come to pick me up out the hospital to make sure that I was getting in their car, not going anywhere else. And the husband, I call her Auntie Irene, and you know, I'm forever grateful to them, because Brian was 4 years, and he took me to my first, we went back, they lived in Yorkshire, and they lived in this little village across the road from the church, and he said, I'm going to a meeting if you want to come. And I was like, well, okay then. I didn't have much else to do, so I didn't go, because I thought I was an alcoholic.
You just thought, yeah, maybe I'm bored.
Yeah.
I'll give it a go, I'll have a look.
Or like my life's a bit of a mess, so anything can help.
Yeah, what harm can it do, yeah.
And I went to my first meeting.
AA?
Yeah. And I heard a woman, because I just had this concept that an alcoholic was someone that drank on a park bench.
100, that's exactly what I thought. That's exactly park bench, scruffy, dirty, stinking of piss and shit. Yeah. With a bottle of vodka in a brown paper bag. That's exactly what I thought.
Or someone that woke up in the morning and poured himself a drink. Well, that wasn't me.
Yep.
Well, it was near at the end, but you know, and I heard this woman say, well, I binge drink, but when I start drinking, I can't stop, and all that stuff. So, so that, I don't know, the seed was planted, I think, at that first meeting, and then they took me to another meeting in Scarborough, and then I came back and I drank again, but I was frightened. I was frightened of getting drunk.
Is that because of the knowledge that you've gained through the meetings?
I think I was frightened of hurting myself.
Right.
frightened. I don't think I wanted to die, but I just couldn't cope at the time.
Yeah, you knew where you were in your mental state.
Yeah.
And you were pretty fragile.
Yeah. So I then went over to Costa del Crime. Is that my watch?
Yeah, I think so. Costa del Sol.
Yeah.
Costa del Crime.
To meet up with some other people. And they offered me to stay. You can stay here. And I got on it again at this villa. And I was on this come down on this villa, and I just thought, what am I doing? What am I doing? But this seed had been planted. Yes. And I had Brian had given me a little big book. So I sat on the side of the book shaking, reading Bill's story.
No way.
And I related to it. I could relate to this guy in Akron, this stockbroker.
From 1930s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was just, I could relate to how he felt.
Yeah. And
that's when I thought, I've got to get back to Scarborough, because that's where I met a couple of sober people and these meetings. So I just thought, I can't stay in Manchester. I have to get away. So as soon as I got back, we had a caravan, and I asked my dad, I borrowed somebody's car to tow the caravan to this field in the middle of Thurston, Scarborough. I don't know if you know it up there.
No, not really, no.
It's complete countryside, hills, like there's nothing for miles around in this farmer's field, and that's where I stayed.
No way.
So
you literally did isolate yourself?
Yeah.
No way. How long was you there for?
In the caravan, probably about 4 months or so. 4 or 5 months.
You've done that yourself though, to protect yourself?
Yeah.
So even though it is a form of isolation, it was actually worked out for you, did it not?
Well, it ended up being my little rehab, because then I think I had my last spliff and my last few bottles of lager, and then I got to these meetings and I started going, and I started getting to know people, going for coffees, and I'd been going a couple of weeks, and I'd met up with one of my best friends, Teresa now, and she's from Chicago. She was new to the town as well, so, and a few similar things had happened. So that was it. So I got this phone call. So I had a few court cases on the go. I had my son's dad taking me to court for custody. My partner's family taking me to court for theft of the caravan.
The one that you used to isolate?
I don't mind, but it was nothing to do with them. It was bought between us two, even though it was stolen anyway, but, you know.
That's a mad one. So,
I disappeared from the police because I was sick of them as well.
Done a runner?
Yeah. I threw all my 3 phones away. I threw all my numbers away. I had no contacts for
just
Manchester.
Off grid, literally.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I just cut everything off. And then I think I was in contact with my family, obviously, and they told me that the family were trying to get me for theft, and they wanted this car, and I thought, right, I'm fucking burning it down. That's what I'm doing. I don't care. They're not fucking having it. So I sat outside this shop, but I wanted to get obliterated. I did. I was on that white knuckle ride. I was sat in the car and thinking, I just wanted a fucking drink. I was fuming, absolutely fuming. And it was so good. I was 200 miles away. Anyway, I had these numbers that I got from the meeting. So I went down these numbers, and the last one picked up, and she lived in Beverley. So do you know it over the east side? No.
Yeah, I've heard of Beverley, yeah.
So, but I had no site. It was A to Z, Scarborough to Beverley. I don't know how I got there. I really don't to this day, but I did. She said, "Can you get to my house?" And she spent the whole day with me, talking, sharing her experience, her strength and her hope. And that's how it works, isn't it?
Yep.
So, and I just sat smoking roll-ups, sat there and having coffee, and then she took me to a meeting, and then that night I went back to the caravan, and I can't, because I was burning that caravan down with me in it. I was full of rage. And I came back to that caravan. I woke up in the morning and I felt an amazing sense of peace.
Really?
I can't tell you what it was. I don't know, but I woke up in the morning and I was like, you know, just taking a breath of fresh air in the country, and it could have been carnage, you know. I could have woke up to absolute carnage. I don't know what, if I'd have had that drink, I was on destruct mode. So whatever happened or intervened that day, I don't know. And that's how I've gone on in recovery. Whenever I've had something like that, how bad I feel, you know, it's back to basics. I can ring somebody up. I can go to a meeting. I don't have to be on my own, you know. I don't have to isolate. So I carried on and I went through the 12-step program. I got myself a sponsor, and you know, and I kept having milestones. I kept thinking, because I was desperate to get back. I wanted to be with my kids. I was absolutely. I'd watch mums pick the kids up from school.
Breaking your heart,
And I just want to be with my kids. I used to see them every kind of 6 weeks, but I literally had no money. I had no money. I had enough money to get petrol to see them in that 6-week period. I'd save up, and then when they came, we'd go and do things like I got some paints and pastels, and we go painting or we go bike riding. It was never anything that had money, but you know, it was just lovely to be in nature.
I'd prefer that's the best way, I think, now anyway, because everyone's always on the technology. It's nice to get them out, isn't it? The best things in life are free sometimes, aren't they?
Exactly. So then, so I got a bit of sobriety behind me. I started helping out at Oxfam, you know, charity work, just getting myself back into some kind of...
Like a routine?
What normal people do.
Yeah.
9 till 5. But I was so lonely. I was so lonely. That loneliness, I felt, it was... And I hear people now talk about loneliness, and I think when you're newly sober, everything's so raw. And they say that first 2 years of sobriety, and I did everything to protect myself. I didn't go in any wet places. My family were the worst. I didn't go the first Christmas. My sponsor said, "Well, don't go." And what? I don't spend Christmas with my family. Well, no, because if they trigger and you're going out and have a drink, then...
You don't know where you're going to end up.
No.
Death was an option.
Exactly. So I didn't go. And I did everything. I just wanted to get sober so bad because I didn't want to go back to where I've been. So I did everything they said. And that, you know, I had this first sponsor, oh my God. She was so hard-faced.
Some of them are harder, aren't they?
She was like, So I had no money. I hardly ever had any credit on my phone, but you can get to a phone box, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
So
you put the work in to get the drugs, or put the work in to get sober.
Exactly. But I've got no money. Right, well, one bell me and I'll ring that phone box back.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, right. She said, I want you to ring me every day. I was like, right.
Militant. Is that what you needed, do you reckon? No?
Yeah.
You needed someone to tell you, not, oh, just go and do this. Because then we would have made it suit us, wouldn't we?
Exactly. I was from the school of hard knocks, and that's what I needed. some hard discipline. And I knew that.
Tough love, hard discipline,
And she was, and she said it straight to my face, and you know, I'm great. You know, I've moved on and had other sponsors, but anyway, I stayed there 3 years, and then I came back. So then I wanted to. So then that's when I started getting back into fit. So I was a size 18. I smoked roll-ups. I ate jam donuts, jam breads for tea every night in my first year of sobriety.
So your eating was just out there. You didn't care.
No.
And at this point you weren't. So the love of fitness that you've had as a kid, it was non-existent as well.
No, but I'd given up the drink, so that was my main focus. So 12 months in, I thought, right. I don't know if you've heard the saying, "Keep your slippers under the bed." So they say that in AA, so you get out of bed and say your prayers, don't they? And then, so I started keeping my trainers under the bed because I thought that's the first thing I want is a fag. So if I keep my trainers under the bed, then I'm going to put them on and
go straight out running. So that's what I did, and I literally ran round the block coming back, bright red. Big baggy t-shirt, and then I stopped quite often, but then it was just getting to that lamppost or getting up a bit further every time.
That's it. Can I get to that bit? Can I get up this hill? And and eventually, I was starting to put the miles in, and then I joined Scarborough Running Club, and I was the slowest of the slowest group, right at the back. And I remember that even 9 months in thinking, when am I going to get fit? When am I going to get fit? But I just kept going. And that's what I always say to people now. Don't give up. It's keep going. And I think that's all I've done is been consistent about what I do. So I ended up doing 10Ks, and then I ran a half marathon, and then I got into run the London. That was in 2007. Anyway, after running a marathon, I'd lost weight, but my body shape, I still
You weren't happy with it?
No, I still held fat, and I was looking at, and I thought, I want a six-pack,
So you'd had an idea of what you want to look like?
Yeah.
And you just haven't achieved it yet?
Yeah. I wanted more of an athletic look, which running, I now know, doesn't give you that, and it was lifting weights and changing my diet. So then where did I go? So I got a job back in Manchester.
Yeah.
But I didn't manage to swap my house. I was waiting for someone to swap. I was in a housing association, and you can move that way. But I was just desperate to get back to see my kids. So I ended up moving in. I got a job and then moved in with my dad in Eccles. But he was an active alcoholic at the time, so
tough.
It wasn't too great, really.
Challenging for you.
Yeah.
Being around it, right?
Yeah, and he had bipolar. He'd just come out of the Priory, so for someone newly sober, it wasn't great. But anyway, I managed to get that. So that's what I was saying. I look back in my life and I just think, I might not have had much, but I've always just been given enough to get by. So I got my job in the gym as a gym instructor, 12-hour shifts, cleaning toilets, cleaning the gym floor. But anyway, I started teaching groups. So that was another big thing. My confidence.
In front of others?
Yeah. I honestly wanted the ground to swallow me up. I know what you mean. I just want to crawl up my own arse and be like, don't look at me. Yeah, don't look at me. Oh God. I remember saying, yes, I'll cover this class, and all day I'd be like feeling sick and anxiety out of your head, thinking about all the mad things that won't happen, but in your head they are going to happen, aren't they? And now I just like throw a class together and make it up as I go along. I just think, oh, does it?
Isn't it mad?
Don't matter, does it?
Isn't it mad?
It's that perfectionism, I think.
Yes.
About being perfect.
Yes, 100%.
So I ended up working in the gym, set up a running club there, and then just thinking I was just hungry for some knowledge, and I just wanted to know how my body worked and how these people got the bodies to be like, you know, lean and muscular, and I was just, I just wanted to know how people ran faster or trained to get better. I just love sport. I don't, you know, I'm not one particular thing. I just, you know, gymnastics. I so wish I did a bit of gymnastics when I was younger, but I just wish I'd have carried it on. I know. So I thought I wanted a qualification. I think that came from kind of childhood when my mum said, I just had that always not good enough.
Yep.
I was a bit thick.
Stuck in the back of your head.
Yeah.
Even into an adult.
Yeah.
Yep.
I went to this posh school, never fitted in. Everyone was cleverer than me. Yep. And probably to prove to my mum that I was clever. I don't know. I don't feel I've got to prove anything to her now.
But I get that.
You know.
Yeah, I get that.
So that was my goal, really, to get to university again. I'd already tried and failed. So I applied again to Salford. I think I used my access course, and then all the other little courses that I was doing. So I just kept collecting these YMCA courses, doing aqua class and you know, anatomy, and just started learning and reading quite a lot. And then I managed to get a place at Salford Uni on a sports science degree. So when I kind of juggled my finances, trying, you know, with teaching classes, and I remember the talk at uni. Like we had all the governing bodies, you know, Sport England, everyone like from their establishment came to give us talks, and it was pretty negative. It was pretty, well, there's not a lot of jobs in sport.
Oh really?
It's not that well paid. Yeah, it was.
I bet you're thinking, what am I doing?
Yeah, I know. But
No
I kept reminding myself, I'm not doing it for that.
Yes.
I'm doing it because
It's a deeper level. On a deeper
I
level.
enjoy and I love doing it. I know what it's given me, and I think if I just put my all and I put my hand up for every voluntary thing that came along,
experiences.
Yeah, I put my hand up and I thought, I'm going to get as much knowledge as I can. You know, we did biomechanics, so I went down to Bedford, so we filmed the, you know, pole jumpers and sprinters, you know, so we helped do all that. You know, I've done fitness testing with England lacrosse, Manchester City ladies, Manchester United came in, a few odd players came in. So, you know, it was quite Salford Rugby League.
So you're with elite athletes pretty much, yeah?
Yeah, I thought, well, why not? That's what a massive opportunity. And I think I could see that from where I come from. I think coming from nothing and then being involved with this work, I felt really privileged. I felt really like, wow. So then I wanted to learn more about lifting weights and things like that. And we did Olympic lifting anyway on the course. So I got involved doing a bit of Olympic lifting at Manchester CrossFit, and then I went to a bodybuilding show, and I thought, right.
As a spectator?
Yeah, I thought that's what I want to do.
Right.
So I found myself a trainer. It was an old school bodybuilding gym, proper old school. Yeah, it was a school of hard knocks. She proper went, come on, you want to train?
Yeah, like a sergeant.
Right, yeah. And at the time, I had no money. I had no car, so I had to cycle 10 miles from my house to the gym in Salford and 10 miles back. That was in the pouring rain. So
Dedication.
From Burnage to Eccles.
No way.
After doing a massive leg session, yeah, it was, so I cycled everywhere. So I got very lean very quickly. And so I did my first show. And I remember like going on stage. I think there was another 10 competitors and I was the last one. So everybody went on. We all went on together and then we all went on to do a routine, and I was thinking, and I watched everyone go on, and in my head I'm going, oh my God, she's so good. Look at her, she looks great.
Everyone up.
Yeah. And I just thought, I'm so shit. And honestly, but I remember when I was practicing, like my posing, my coach would go, tits and ass. Because I remember like, I just wanted to walk around like hidden.
Right, okay.
That's, I had no confidence.
So yeah, although you had to flaunt what you're there with, you still had that.
Yeah.
Right, no way.
Yeah, she had to really like force it out of me because I was like...
Didn't come natural to you?
No, God no. And I walked on stage and I could feel my legs shake, and it was shaking and I couldn't stop it. It was like an involuntary shake. And I did my routine, but my leg was still shaking. and then I came off, and then they brought us all back on, and they start shouting out who kept what position, and then they shouted me out as first place.
No way.
I know.
In your first show?
In my first show.
Wow.
So
what did that do to your confidence? Considering before it you were like...
Well, yeah, everyone had said they went, oh, you look great, you look really good. And I just went, oh, right, yeah, well, yeah, I know, I look all right, I look leaner, but it wasn't until I saw my stage pictures and I thought, oh, who's that?
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think that was, you found it hard to take compliments as well because of your mindset from your past?
Yeah. Yeah.
So even though you've worked hard and you've seen it in the mirror and you've hit your milestones, you can still have that when someone says, what the hell, you look fucking amazing, like, well done. Does that...
Yeah, no, I couldn't see that myself. And I all the way through, I thought I could work harder. Like, they had to slow me back.
No way.
She was like giving me more food in the end because I was getting quite lean, so I thought I had to work harder. That was my mindset then. So then I went on to get onto the British stage, and I was disappointed. I got second and I was disappointed.
Yeah, but that's because you're a winner, you're a survivor, you're competitive.
Yeah.
So I feel that's good to have that mindset though. Not to be absolutely distraught, obviously, but you wanted to win.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I'd not won anything really in my life, so I thought I really wanted to win.
Especially after coming off the back of the first one that you won.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
anyway.
Second's still amazing.
I know. So, everyone kept going, that's, yeah. I'm like, right, okay. We'll go again. Yeah. Let's try again. So that's what I did. So I went the second year and I got second again at the British.
No way. That's
but I was more pleased. I felt really proud of, so there's a couple of different federations, and I don't know if you heard of NABA.
Yeah.
So I actually got top 6 at NABA England, and then I got 8th place at the Universe.
Fucking hell, Angie.
So
That's mega.
when
was that?
I think that was 2012.
No way.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
So I was more proud of that. I think definitely.
Wow.
I competed again the next couple of years. Different. I think I did Leeds, won the Leeds show, and I got through to the British, and I got through 5 years ago to a new federation, PCA. So yeah, I don't know. It was, but then I always like to mix it up as well. So then I stopped. I thought, right, I'm going to give it a rest now, competing. I wanted to concentrate more on my business then. I then since got my degree.
Yeah.
I think that moment, that's one of my best moments. I remember just sat with the email thinking, hovering over the key, and then not understanding it, whether I had passed or not.
Right.
I was thinking, I can't remember what it said. It said it in some kind of Latin way, and I just went, does that mean I passed? Anyway, I did. So yeah, that's one of my proudest moments.
Yeah, so it should be. Considering what you've told us, that is unbelievable. You've literally moved mountains to get that. Yeah, doing that degree, I mean, God, I still don't know how I did it, but I just think if you focus and you want something enough, but
you can do anything.
You've got to find that one thing in it. I totally believe in that. I'm of the thing that I will give more effort into something that connects with me on a deeper level. Like, and that's just the way I am. And I found that if it connects me, I'll be all in, hyper-focused. I'll still do everything else.
Yeah.
But if it's not got that connection, I just won't give it the...
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it's hard for people to find that, isn't it? To be honest, a lot of people struggle. A lot of people are working in jobs that they don't like.
I know. And that, yeah. I suppose so. That's what I'm grateful for. I think I just kept that thing that this is what I love doing. And I've always had that motto, I think, underneath that I've got to enjoy and be passionate about what I do. So, and then I can give it me 200%. So then, then it was building my business really. I ended up at quite a large gym over in Wilmslow.
What's it called? Is it a newish one?
Total Fitness.
Oh, the one off the bypass?
Yeah.
Right.
And I always said I wouldn't be a personal trainer. I wanted to be a strength coach. I was with Salford Reds for 12 months, just teaching Olympic lifting and weights and things. So I kind of wanted to go out and do that, and then, but I just needed to earn some money at the time, and then anyway, I got in with this personal training company, and I felt really proud to be a part of that.
Because of what they stood for, maybe.
Yeah, they were. It was a very, they were all knowledgeable trainers. Not just these. Just past I
think
I know I've been there at level 2, but just these ones that throw a few weights on and work you hard. So no, they wanted high level standard personal trainers, and that's what they look for. So I was proud to be taken on by them, and then. So I mean, I was there the best part of 10 years. Just left just before lockdown. 7 years, is it? So, yeah. I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah, that's cool. I think perfect.
Up to there.
Yeah. So we'll edit that out, that little bit.
Yeah.
And we'll leave it there. I just want to say, Angie, thank you so much.
Right.
You've blown me away. because I didn't know your full story. I was just inspired by meeting you, following you. I see the work you do with CAD. I see the work we do on a personal life. You inspire me, like you say. I just watch a video of yours and I'm fucking training after it. Do you know what I mean? And I know for a fact you're helping people, and it's beautiful to see.
Thanks.
And what a story! What a story! You should be so fucking proud of yourself. Right. You really should. And you know you're here, and
thank you.
You keep pushing. So thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And we'll get you
That's
back.
what it's all about. Keep pushing.